Alright, what's up everybody? It's your boy Trey Swish back at it again with another video. And today we're reacting to something that's actually, it appears to be good. It's titled, "A New Law Just Forced Valve to Change Steam." This could be good, this could be bad. I don't know exactly. And we're getting back to our normal content. I'm kinda scarred after watching that Pokemon leak. And yeah, I don't know if I want to play Pokemon anymore because I'm kind of fucked up. But it's kind of creeping me out, man. But yeah, let's watch this because it's actually, it's about, you know, normal people. And this guy that's making this video, Bellular News, is a very reasonable man. Very reasonable. So yeah, let's get into it.
The type of competition is heating up in games, and it's rooted in this.
Okay.
You have never owned your games on Steam. Never. What's changed though?
I have one of those. Hey, if you have a Steam Deck, comment down below. Hey, bro, why can't I play all the games like Fortnite and all those fucking games, all those multiplayer games, because they don't have a good anti-cheat? Bro, put a good anti-cheat on this thing. Like, bro, come on. What are we doing? Why did I spend so much money for this thing?
Is how Valve tells you about that, and a law that is compelling them to do so. And most of us kind of knew this stuff. We just didn't feel it. Steam had become the foundation of PC gaming, right? It's the place that's got a killer refund policy. It's got reviews that are actually useful to us.
The refund policy is cool, but I think it's up to like 2 hours of gameplay, which sucks because it should be 3, because I played a game the other day and I didn't realize it was 2 hours and I wanted to refund it and I was kind of pissed. So yeah, I wish it was 3 because I didn't get to refund my game.
A company that's done amazing things like Proton with Linux gaming, like Steam Deck, which has juiced up the handheld arms race. That's been amazing for gaming. So much good has happened.
The Steam Deck is amazing for emulation, but there's a lot of stuff for that anyway, so yeah.
Happened that the uncomfortable knowledge of our lack of ownership just went under the rug. Helped by Gaben talking about the kill switch, that if Steam is to die, they have a button and they can kill the DRM along with it. Things recently are changing though. There are the mass legal cases that we've covered, there are the legal probes into large market share stores all over the place, and all these things kind of risk Valve. Valve are having to change here and there, and one thing is for sure with today's story: GOG could not have found better free marketing.
I'm going to tell you why this is so important. Not GOG opportunity. I don't know exactly what that is. It seems like it's sponsoring this video. But the reason why it's so important that when you buy something, you should own it. You should. Like, I buy all these games. I should have the right to do whatever the fuck I want with the games. I should be able to mod them. I should be able to do whatever except for copying them and, you know, sharing them to my friends, because that is stealing, right? You know, they have to go buy their own copy. That's what makes sense to me. Yeah, so that should be, you should own what you buy. Ownership is very key, and we're moving into an age where it seems like you don't own anything these days. There is a law, I haven't looked into it lately, but it's trying to be passed in California of all places, which is an unexpected W for California because a lot of their laws I think are kind of silly. But to be frank, the law is pretty much saying that when you sell something like a video game and they don't technically own the rights to it, that shouldn't be considered buying the video game. You should be buying or like leasing the intellectual property or something like that. I'll have to look into it some other time. But yeah, it's an interesting thing that's popping up these days.
So here's the tweet. GOG, a subsidiary of CD Projekt, chimed in on a trend. They said this: "Since checkout banners are trending, we're thinking of putting one up ourselves. Thoughts on this one?" Which is, of course, a little bit cheeky because it's enabled by contrast. You see, as of recently, when you go to buy a game on Steam, you'll see this disclaimer at checkout. It reads, "A purchase of a digital product grants a license for the product on Steam. For full terms, please see the Steam subscriber agreement."
That's why I like buying everything physical, and that's why I've always been a console kind of guy, a console connoisseur. The reason is because I like owning physical discs, right? I like owning physical discs. They're trying to push that out because it's making it easier for copying a game onto a disc and then putting it, creating the folder to put it in, entering, little art or whatever, little manuals, which are kind of like rare to see these days. Like, let me look at this. Look at that. Bought this game the other day on eBay. No manual. Goes to Toshima, the collector's edition steelbook. Gotta love it. Oh, what does it come with? Just a little piece of paper. So yeah, I don't really care about art books or anything like that, but I do miss the good old days where there used to be a bunch of little knickknacks that you would get in your game case. That is a thing of the past, though.
Wording here is kind of fun. It affirms what you do get, a license for a game on Steam, but it leaves the implication that you don't actually own the game very much to you. And if you...
Which also, you might not be aware of this, but when it comes to like people playing games on stream or making gaming content in general, you would think, oh, well, they're transformative. They can do what they want. Well, fair use, transformative content, stuff like that, it's actually a gray area. It really is. There hasn't been a lot of let's say examples that have been set in court yet that I could think of. So we're living in a gray area. So pretty much technically I would say if you play any game on stream, some companies might think they have the right to just destroy, just ban, just copyright strike anyone they want whenever they want to do it. So yeah, it's kind of a little nerve-wracking, honestly, when you try to step into this industry. I'll say that for sure, being a small guy in this big ol' ocean.
Decide to click through and read the subscriber agreement. GOG's, though, simply states, a purchase of a digital product on GOG grants you its offline installers, which cannot be taken away from you.
That's awesome.
Which, yeah, is fairly different. If you get banned from Steam, you lose everything. If you get banned from GOG, well, good news. The software is yours. You bought it from the store. It's on your computer.
Has someone ever been banned from like Xbox 360 or PS3? Because back in those days, the games actually had like the content on the disc, and yeah, you could like copy the game onto the platform on Xbox 360. That way, if you had a scratched game, it would still work, which was awesome. Yeah, I wonder, because I feel like it's mainly people getting banned from like strictly online sources and databases where you buy your games, like servers like Steam.
There's nothing they can do. But here's the twist. There's legal stuff that's happened, and Steam's new disclaimer may not even be legally compliant, which is hardly a surprise given we're also finding that parts of the Steam subscriber agreement are not legally enforceable. So, let's get into this.
Yes, let's do it.
Want to travel a bit. Surf, sun, dangerously drinkables, infidels, and of course lots of needles. We're in California, and with a swipe of his left hand, Gavin Newsom signed an amendment into law recently. It's a fun one. It's one designed to broaden the definition of misleading advertising legislation.
Rare, I kid you not, rare California W, which is crazy because Silicon Valley is in California. It's crazy to me that this is actually happening. It is wild. Like, it's legal to steal things in California. If it's like $800 or whatever, I don't know the exact amount. I'm not some reporter. I just see videos of people on Twitter running around, don't even bother having a mask. They're in CVS, they just got their little fucking Santa bag and they're just loading that shit up. They're like, oh, is this under $800? I think. Who gives a fuck? No one's gonna estimate the shit we steal, put it on their back and run out like a fucking dirty Santa Claus. And when you know they have really good business because they have $800 of profit right off the bat. You know, they can sell that shit with like 5% reduction on Amazon, and boom bada bing, you got yourself a professional business. Isn't that nice?
Now,
it's
not.
It
sounds like
bad.
Gook, but yeah, we got to read through it first. Prohibit a seller of a digital good from advertising or offering for sale a digital good as defined to a purchaser with the terms buy, purchase, or any other term which a reasonable person would understand to confer an
wow. A reasonable person. I wonder what they're gonna do, like with that in court.
Unrestricted ownership interest in the digital good.
Like, what's a reasonable person these days? I think that bar has kind of lowered over time. You know what I mean?
That little bit at the end, of course, matters a lot. And to put that simply, it just says that words like buy and purchase or similar words that to a reasonable person usually mean you actually own something, well, that they have actually got to mean that you own something. This law basically says that if those words are used, or similar words which a normal person would expect to mean, I own this thing, well, if those are used, then it has to be for the unrestricted ownership interest in a digital good.
Yeah.
Unrestricted is, of course, a very important word there. And obviously, Valve, Steam, well, you're not going to be getting unrestricted, are you? The point is you have to own it, and that means, per this law, the digital storefront language has got to be clear. Now, this is good news, right? This is a win, but it also is something that's a little bit complicated, and yes, Steam's new language might still violate this. Before we break that down, a quick thing, because we actually do more here than just this show. Over at Bellular.games, our members actually get things, like, say, our videos ad-free, all of our research reports, and a fresh edition of Loading Screen.
I've got to say, Bellular, dude, he's done a amazing job. He popped up out of nowhere, popped up on my feed, and now he's always on my feed constantly with new stuff. Shout out to the guy. He does amazing work.
Every day, and with that, we sift through all the big stories, all the upcoming games, all the things that you need to know, the best articles and bits of journalism out there, and we keep you in the loop. It is the best way to support our team, and you can check it out below.
Go check them out, guys.
Today.
Yeah.
That said then, let's talk about what changed. You know, the funny thing is, if I was to do a shitpost, I could almost say that this is all Ubisoft's fault, because the thing that kicked off the stop killing games, that really just bursted that movement into the public consciousness was, well, the crew being taken offline. The point, though, is stop killing games is a consumer movement, and the idea is that if a game can be removed from your library, or it can be turned off in a way that it just means the product can't be used, then it basically is a violation. Now this
is also a reason why we need emulation. 100%. I don't give a fuck if you say it's piracy. Bro, this is 100% a vital reason for emulation. 100%.
All sparked debate, and one of the people in that debate was Pirate Software, who is pro-consumer rights but is connected to the dev side. He took the position on it that essentially, well-meaning, but we should be cautious. And the essence of his core point is good. I mean, we all understand the idea that often regulations, while well-meaning, can have unintended consequences.
Yep.
And actually, when done wrong, regulations, even if they're meant to aid competition, can actually have the opposite effect. They can reduce competition. And that's...
Hence, let's even talk about something that's so obvious in the United States of America. Weed being illegal. Guess what happened? The cartel is fucking stupid rich now because they sell illegal weed everywhere in the United States. Guess what? Now the cartel's the goddamn fucking government of Mexico. Wow, how did that happen?
An incumbent company with lots of money, well, they will have the resources to stay compliant with the new regulation. If the new regulation means, though, that you've got to do a bunch of extra work to stay compliant, then startups, well, they will be relatively punished. That's actually why, in so many cases, you can see big companies even lobbying for regulation, because even if it'll hurt them, they think it'll hurt their competitors more. And so some of the point here is that if we do really big regulations that are crafted by people who don't really understand the thing that they're regulating, which I think could be the case for video games, well, it's just going to take a very long time.
Bro, if the people that are making video games don't even understand video games, like for instance, if you have a person that's developing Halo and they don't even understand Halo, they hate Halo, which was a quote by the devs themselves. Misconstrued quote, maybe. But they did, and a lot of people have done it before, where they're like, hey, we don't want to have people that are in love with this game. We want a unique and different perspective to come and work on this so we can broaden our horizons. And then it falls flat on its face. But yeah, it's the same concept with regulation. It is.
End up hurting you, who really knows? What can be done quite quickly, and is being done right now though, is, I think, pragmatic. It is simply informing people. That's what Steam have to do. That's what digital storefronts have to do. They have to inform people about what they're actually buying, what it means. That's good, it's low cost, and it minimizes unintended consequences. It's essentially an example of enforced transparency, and we've just seen that be good for competition with GOG. Okay, so one of the normal ways to compete with another company is on
GOG? Like Grok? Like, what the fuck?
On price, but Steam have got pricing rules. Now,
oh, GOG, the site he showed earlier. Okay, I'm following now.
Out of the loop in that one, per emails that were made public through discovery in a court case, Valve enforces its pricing rules, its pricing parity rules, not just on Steam keys that are sold elsewhere, but on game prices in general, even if it is not a Steam key. At least that's what those emails very much do suggest.
What?
Now, that's a problem if you're GOG, because it basically means you cannot compete with Steam by offering a lower price.
That's like a monopoly.
Maybe you as GOG could say, here's the deal, game developer, we're going to have a lower store fee, we'll pass some of that on to the customer, and we'll all be more competitive. Well, Valve's rules kill that. But price,
yeah, that's a monopoly,
is only one way to be competitive. There are others. Value is one of those things. On GOG, if you buy a game at the same price as it is in Steam, you could very much argue that's of a better value because you
have a offline base for the game.
per that law, unrestricted ownership interest.
Yeah.
You just have a zip file with the game installer on it.
Wow, that's awesome.
You don't need to phone home. You can play it locally. There is zero DRM. If you buy that same thing in Steam, you're obviously not buying the game because you need Valve DRM to run it. And yes, there is offline, but offline involves hoops and other things that basically mean that it still is just a game license. And so this is good, even for Steam users. You know, the internet's got this weird habit of making everything a battle between people, of user groups fighting.
Oh my god, this is so prevalent with console wars. Golly, it's so irritating with, I'm a PlayStation pony, I'm an Xbox. Like, who gives a fuck? We just want good games, man.
User groups, as if criticizing Steam is somehow criticizing Steam users. It's not. I'm a Steam user. I will generally buy games on Steam all the time.
Same.
But if GOG and the Epic Games Store and other places increase their market share, that creates an incentive for Valve to win back our custom or to just fight harder to keep it, and that means we, the customer, get a better deal. So,
good old capitalism.
Even though we like Gaben, we want Gabe to be under pressure. We want him to be a little bit fearful, because that will keep him sharp and competitive, and that will be good for us. And that means that even if Valve don't go DRM free, they can still increase value by other means. Be that service, be that platform features, whatever it may be. But there is another angle to all this, that it's not sunshine and roses. So let's talk about how nothing's simple and unintended consequences.
All right.
We should be clear what we're asking for, because sometimes somebody should have access removed, right? Even if they've purchased it. I mean, say it's a multiplayer game and somebody cheats.
Oh my god, please, yes, please. This is the reason I don't play Warzone anymore. God, let's go. Let's go.
Community guidelines, breaks rules that by playing the game, they said they agreed to.
Which is a joke. It is a joke. There's no, bro, people are not monitoring shit, I swear, bro. There's so much cheating going on in games nowadays. It's not even fun. It's like one of the main reasons I don't even like religiously play online anymore. It's so annoying.
How do we handle that? I mean, in theory, it's pretty simple. What you should do is disentangle ownership of a game or license to a game from being allowed to partake in the online service, even if the game is an online-only game. And I think that is basically common sense.
But what do you do when you have a free-to-play online game, right? The dude's just gonna make another account. Like, what are we doing here? Come on. This is another reason why I think free-to-play games are so fucking toxic. It just encourages smurfing like crazy. And when you have smurfing with cheating, that is a recipe to kill your community, 100%.
If you were crafting legislation, you would need to write that thing goddamn specifically so that there are not any unintended consequences. And that brings everything back to the discourse that was going on with pirate software, right? Where if you say that all games have got to last forever, well, you could just say, yeah, build player-ran servers, make it possible, do it. And often it probably would be easy, but maybe for pirate software, maybe you're thinking about the server binaries, maybe you're going to be thinking about security implications.
This is a little off topic, but I want to talk about it because it just popped in my head. I think that a lot of games, and it's sad to see, they when the servers go offline, and they're dead forever. We, the people, should have the right to be able to create our own servers and fund them ourselves if we wanted to. I think that should be a right. Like, I know, for instance, like Modern Warfare 2, it had a mod on the new Modern Warfare game, and pretty much just bringing back Modern Warfare 2. I forgot what it was called. It's like Modern Warfare Havoc or something, MWZ or something. I forgot exactly what it was called. But pretty much what happened is everyone got really hyped for this to come out, and then Activision like lowered the price so people could buy the game at a lower price on Steam, so more people would actually buy it. And then the day the mod was coming out, the new server and everything, they straight up copyright struck them. So they pretty much had to delete everything. Yeah, it's crazy. I think that when you buy a game, you lose the control of the game. I'm sorry to say, but you really, when you publish your game, you should be like, all right, we're publishing the game, we're gonna try to monetize this as much as possible, we get our money's worth, but there should be a point where it's like, hey, you're moving on to bigger and better things. You're not still working on this game at all. Fuck off. Like, and the reason they do that is because they don't want you playing this mod of Modern Warfare 2 because it's one of the greatest Call of Duty games ever made. They want you to play their fucking invested, fucking hacker infested game that's currently going, that currently has loot boxes and monetization that you can go pay for that instead. That's what they want you to do. They want you to spend money on their product and then make their money. If you have a cult classic game and they're never even going to come back to the quality of that game ever, unless they do a remake, and they're going to botch that as well because they're going to change the whole game to implement microtransactions or add free-to-play mechanics or whatever it is, modern gaming they want to add into the mix. Yeah, it's just, oh god, it fucking drives me crazy, man.
Implications, all of those things, perhaps to the stage where crafting effective legislation would be extremely hard. It'll essentially become a case of who do you want to enforce this? The market via rewarding companies who are doing things that people like, or legislation, which sometimes can be very effective or sometimes can be less effective. I mean, that games have an end-of-life plan is really good. I prefer that. I see that as better value, therefore I'm more likely to buy it, and it's a competitive edge for a developer who makes a game like that. And
it was crazy. End of life game, I'm thinking of one off the top of my head that came out recently. Not recently, but you know, in the last couple of years. Elden Ring. That game is going to be a good game for the rest of its life. You can go back to Elden Ring in 20 years and it will still be a good game. Isn't that crazy? It's wild. It's wild what you can do when you make a good game and it ages like fine wine and people go back and they buy the game still. Versus all these fucking gotcha games and cash grabs and loot boxes. They're going for the bag when they really could be going for the bank. Fucking idiots, bro. I can't stand the industry these days.
Therefore,
I just can't stand it.
transparency is important because it makes it clear that that is an axis of competition.
Yeah.
I think what we all want is fairly simple. A market with informed consumers who reward features that they value, thus creating a natural incentive for developers to take the needs of those customers seriously. To take the example of end-of-life plans for a game, well, if it's done because of genuine competition and genuinely trying to add value, then it will probably be a good, well-thought-out feature rather than the bare minimum done for the sake of compliance. All of this, though, brings me back to Steam. I did dangle the prospect of Steam maybe not complying with that law. So let's get into that. Steam's wording is fuzzy.
Here we go.
The legislation specifies the word purchase, clearly saying that a reasonable person takes that to mean an unrestricted ownership interest in the digital good. Now, the reason why I said fuzzy is because Valve say you purchase a license to the product on Steam. Again, purchase. The amendment says that purchase...
But you're purchasing a license. License, not the actual game itself. You're purchasing a key to unlock the game to use as you want, as long as you have that key. And the game's still there to be unlocked.
A reasonable person would define as unrestricted access to the digital good, which of course is not the case here. It is restricted because if you get banned from Steam, or if Steam just somehow explodes, well, you won't have it. Now, it could be that Valve take a slightly different read, that for them they're saying, well, no, the digital good that you have unrestricted access to is this license. Maybe it's a little bit like a theme park ticket. Imagine a lifetime theme park ticket. That ticket is yours, right? It can't be taken away from you. But if you get yourself banned from the theme park, then the ticket that you own is rightly rendered useless. It's a bit funny then. Valve affirms what you have, but they leave the implication that you do not own games to the Steam subscriber agreement. I have to wonder if in the future Valve may have to say something like this. You purchase a license to play the game on Steam valid for the duration of your Steam account, or something similar to that. This would be great.
Bro, this man giving them straight up ideas. That is exactly what they're going to say. Exactly.
Great for consumers. People would know exactly what the deal is. They would not be surprised or confused. But obviously Valve would hate that. If you know anything about e-commerce, you know that the conversion rate of your store's checkout is the most important thing, and anything that could decrease that conversion rate is bad. Of course, that cuts both ways.
I don't think that would actually hurt them at all. To be frank, I think it would be minuscule, like a very, very small fraction. And honestly, I feel like that fraction that is that small, it will grow over time for sure. As people get more educated on everything, how the industry's run and what they could do instead of renting or buying a license. But I think it's so minuscule, man. I really do.
And if you're GOG, well, you see it as a competitive advantage. One thing did call this into question recently. It was GOG delisting a bunch of games in September. That actually worried people a lot, and it led to this response from them. When we say we let you own your games, we meant that. No matter what happens, whether it's licensing issues, storefronts shutting down, or even a zombie apocalypse cutting off your internet, you'll still be able to play them thanks to our offline installers. We want to ensure your gaming legacy is always in your hands, not ours.
Well, I mean, if you get a zip file, you're good to go.
So, yeah.
Unless that game's like strictly online, then that game's never going to be able to be 100% offline. Like, you can't have a fucking 100% online game be 100% offline. That doesn't make any sense at all, unless you use like bots or something.
They're affirming that the thing you get on your hard drive, basically zip file with game installer, that's yours. You can install it even if there's no internet. Now, of course, you could still get banned from GOG. You can still do things that mean they are well within their rights to refuse your custom.
Like, for instance, if they find out you copy and paste your zip file onto someone else's computer and they used it, that would probably, violate their policy.
To shut down your account, maybe that means you won't be able to download something. But the key difference is, with Steam, everything's gone. With GOG, well, it's yours, because the thing they've sold you goes onto your computer, and you can do whatever the goddamn hell you want with it. And that is, I think, a competitive edge. We then approach
I think that is the future. I think that's what it should be. I think this digital era we're going into is fucking scary, because these fucking discs, bro, VCRs are irrelevant. CDs are irrelevant. Every single game disc I get now is a fucking Blu-ray disc. Eventually, those will be irrelevant. And that sucks, because what's going to replace it? Probably just data transfers.
Interesting future, one where a person with a decent internet connection, a NAS, and an installation of Jellyfin can feel damn good about themselves, not having to rely on the absolute nightmare of everything. But I'll tell you who's not feeling great about themselves. Paradox. They just held a press event that had no games. What it did have, though, was a message, and if you're thinking about a certain South Park gif, yeah, that one. You can learn about it next.
God. Oh no, they made everything gay. They made it stupid and gay. That fucking episode of South Park goes fucking hard. Classic reminder that if buying is not owing, then piracy is not stealing situation. I do not agree with you. Stealing is still piracy. Piracy is still stealing. But backing up your games, I don't consider piracy. I don't, but we do not have the technology. It's just not out there enough. It's just not. There's such a huge learning skill to backing up physical games and stuff like that. It really is. And then the freaking actual like technology you have to buy to actually make that even possible. Man, I just want to buy a $500 mic because I'm tired of this fucking Blue Yeti. It keeps on popping and doing weird ass shit. I bought this thinking this was gonna be a good ass mic, and I'm having issues with it all the time. So but that's the video. Shout out to Bellular News again. He's doing amazing work. I'm subscribed already. I love his stuff. Go check him out, man. That's the video. I want to keep it, keep on the forefront of what's happening in the gaming, because I am a gamer. It's huge. It's a big part of my life, 100%. And I just gotta stay tapped in, gotta stay educated. Shout out to Bellular for dropping the knowledge, and I hope you enjoyed my takes on some stuff. Maybe you have a different opinion. That's cool. I'm good with that. Let me know what it is down below. Consider subscribing, because we're trying to get to that 1,000 mark so we can start pushing out some creative content just made for you, and make the setup a little bit better, so the content sounds better. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. I keep red lighting my mic. Hopefully I'm not talking too loud. Oh well, you know what it is. Your boy's out. Deuces.